He's already done a lot of awful things to the heroine. He can only pray she doesn't overdo her revenge, like stomping his face into the ground. Then again, if she does, he hopes she's wearing black tights and takes her sweet time. Clearly, this guy has very refined taste. Hard to say if it's a man or a woman. The artist definitely didn't make it obvious, but judging by that flawless figure, he's betting on a woman. A stunning one, no less, running this whole operation. It all begins inside a grand castle, home of the Campbell family. A man finds himself there, confused. Wait, didn't I just die in a car crash? He wonders. What's going on? Did I travel through time? The place feels strangely European, and when he catches a glimpse of himself in a mirror, he freezes. The reflection looks like him at 17 or 18 years old, but that makes no sense. He's much older now. He stares harder, no doubt about it. He really was good looking back then, before life turned him into a broke, overweight mess. As he tries to make sense of it, he starts thinking this must be one of those strange dreams you have when you're old and regretful, where you imagine getting reincarnated just to escape your miserable life. But he isn't satisfied with guessing. He grabs a small knife, presses it to his finger, and cuts himself. Blood gushes out. Just a scratch. He mutters, though it stings badly. He licks his fingers and winces. Damn, this feels way too real. That's when the memories hit him all at once. The person whose body he's in is named Moon Campbell, a man who lost everything. Once a noble, now reduced to a beggar, betrayed by his family and cast out with a warning if he ever returned, he'd be killed without mercy. Apparently Moon had committed some terrible crime. The man puts a hand over his face. Damn. He groans. I thought this was just a coincidence, but it's not. He realizes he has transmigrated into the body of that foolish blonde-haired villain, the one who wasn't even strong, smart, or special. He remembers this world clearly. It comes from a story he used to read called The Protagonist, the strongest woman in history. And, of course, the title says it all. A typical tale where a girl abandoned by her family goes out into the world, builds her power, slays monsters, and becomes a legendary hero. In the game's story, Moon Campbell, the blonde idiot whose body he now inhabits, is just an early nuisance. At the start, Moon sends thugs to attack the heroine, only for her to level up insanely fast. His schemes fall apart, he gets thrown out of the mansion, exiled, and reduced to a beggar. 20 chapters later, no one even remembers his name. Reincarnating is one thing, but waking up as a character who exists only to help the protagonist grow stronger, that's a nightmare. Just then, there's a knock on the door. He tells whoever it is to come in, and a maid steps inside, asking what happened. He brushes it off as nothing serious. She mentions that the clothes for tomorrow's banquet have been delivered. He waves her off, telling her to leave them there. But she notices something strange, blood. She asks if he's hurt. He says it's just an accident, nothing important. And then, $10 if you can guess, she kneels down and starts cleaning the blood herself. She's incredibly dedicated, a maid who clearly deserves a raise, even pleading with him to stop hurting himself like that. His face turns red instantly. He's thinking to himself that this is absolutely a moment worth remembering. When she's done, she spins around gracefully, says she's heading out, and tells him to take care of himself. As soon as the door shuts, he's left sitting there, covering his face, blushing like an idiot, mumbling about how perfect this world is. He rocks side to side like some love-struck teenager. No doubt about it, he's a hopeless otaku. Outside the room, the maid tilts her head, wondering why he said thank you. Clearly, before reincarnating, Moon Campbell was a total jerk. Now, the man wonders how someone born handsome from a noble family with a maid this cute could still end up provoking the protagonist. The answer, Moon was stupid enough to try and drug the third princess, which got him exiled. But now that our guy knows how that path ends, he's decided to avoid it completely. If he wants to keep this comfortable life, he must be careful, especially during that ceremony where everything falls apart. Then it hits him. The maid with the thick thighs already brought the banquet outfit. That means the event is happening tomorrow. Panic sets in. He rolls around on his bed, calling out to the system, to a goddess, to his grandpa, to any wandering monk, anyone who can hand him a cheat skill or a power-up. But if the banquet's tomorrow, that means he's already done a lot of awful things to the heroine. He can only pray she doesn't overdo her revenge, like stomping his face into the ground. Then again, if she does, he hopes she's wearing black tights and takes her sweet time. Clearly, this guy has very refined taste, but now his mind is set. Tomorrow, the moment he sees her, he's gonna run straight toward her, drop to his knees 3 times, and beg for forgiveness. That's the plan. But just as he's thinking it through, something smacks him on the head. He spins around, yelling to know who did it, only to see a small book lying on the bed. His heart skips. Could this be his cheat? He snatches it up with trembling hands. Finally, he mutters, God hasn't abandoned me. I'm not doomed to stay a loser. This is it, my key to infinite knowledge. Time to change my fate with my own hands. But when he flips it open, every page is blank. He frowns. Does this thing need some special activation? He grumbles to himself about how these stories always seem to take place in Europe. What's up with that? Then the book suddenly lashes out, his head throbs, blood trickles down, and a drop lands on the page. A dark aura rises from it, and his vision begins to blur. The next moment, he's chained by his hands, feet and neck, body bruised and battered. Slowly, he opens his eyes, trying to figure out where he is. A creepy girl appears, smiling faintly, saying he slept for quite a while. He groans about his aching body, but she coldly replies that pain is inevitable when learning a lesson. She's heartbreakingly sad inside. She never wanted this for him. But he's been cruel, selfish, and far too kind at times, making everyone hate him instead of fear him. In her twisted way, she thinks his heart should bring pain, not tolerance. That's the only way he can belong solely to her. Recently, though, he's been changing, and that just won't do. She vows to purify him of that love no matter how long it takes, so they can be together forever. Then, bam, a barrage of stabs. He jolts awake back in his room, sweating. Home again. Looks like the protagonist might actually prefer him as a villain. But if he goes down that path, his life becomes hell. If he avoids it, it's still a mess. What's he supposed to do? Was that vision a dream from the past, or a glimpse of the future? After all, it started when his blood hit the book. Maybe it was a warning, showing what happens if he makes the wrong choice. When he looks again, words appear on the page, "Do not alter fate." It clicks immediately. If he went through with that plan of kneeling and begging for forgiveness, that horrifying vision would have come true. Compared to being chained and tortured, getting exiled and turned into a beggar suddenly doesn't seem so bad. Now he's fired up. He's a modern, smart man. He'll use his brain to change not just his own destiny, but maybe the entire country's. Who cares about being an aristocrat anyway? Nobles are trapped on a tiny piece of land, clinging to their titles. He's gonna take control of his life with his own two hands instead of relying on others. That said, at this very moment, he's sitting at the table, eating a big plate of juicy meat, grinning about how great noble life really is. Losing all this would seriously suck. Sitting beside him is Noyes Campbell, his mother, a woman so stunning she could pass for 18. She smiles and tells him he seems unusually happy today. His father, Lon, looks at him over his drink and says he's probably just excited about the upcoming ceremony, since it's bound to be one of the most important moments of his life. He just nods along and says, "Yeah," trying not to raise any suspicion. His mother suddenly chimes in, saying she doesn't want him going to that banquet. If he does, every noble girl there will be throwing themselves at him. Lon laughs it off, saying that's impossible because he already has Princess Celia, and any girl foolish enough to try would only make her jealous. His mother pouts playfully, saying she doesn't like this Celia girl at all. Not cute, not worthy of her son. Moon just sits there stunned. Why do his parents have so much faith in him when the real Moon Campbell was nothing but a jerk? And who even is this Celia? Then it hits him, she's the third princess. The same girl he tried to drug in the original story. One of the people destined to bring disaster into his life. In the novel, she was loved by everyone, but in real life, classic Sunder, cold on the surface, warm underneath. Moon feels a pang of guilt. His parents actually seem like good people. He really was exiled not because they hated him, but because he acted like a total bastard. His father just didn't want a rotten son. That only pushes Moon harder to change his fate. Even if it's dangerous, he's determined not to drag his family down with him. In the story, their ruin came because people believed his father ordered him to kill the princess as an act of betrayal. The only way to fix that is to take all the blame himself and make sure no one else is touched. But the problem, the ceremony is tomorrow. There's no time to rewrite everything. What's even stranger, if the event is so close, why doesn't he have the drug yet? Who's supposed to give it to him? What's really gonna happen? As he's deep in thought, a maid bumps into him by accident. She falls awkwardly and blurts out that he spilled the madam's black tea. When he goes to check on her, she flinches, bracing for a scolding. Seeing the tea on his clothes, she panics even more, frantically trying to clean it while thinking her life is over. In her head, she's already been fired and left eating scraps on the street by tomorrow. Moon realizes how awful his reputation must be, so he quickly tells her not to worry, that he isn't going to punish her. Anne's surprised he's smooth about it. He even pulls her into a hug and tells her to relax. She's left completely confused, trying to figure out what the young master is doing. Honestly, what are those hands doing wandering like that? Just then, Anne appears and calls out to him. Moon casually asks the maid's name. Turns out it's Null. He tells Anne to take care of her. Anne reminds him that both she and Null still have work to do preparing for tomorrow and can't afford to slack off. Moon waves her off, saying she should just hire more staff to help. I mean, really, how does a mansion this big not have enough servants? Anne simply bows and agrees, while Moon strolls away, buying himself more time. As he leaves, Null whispers that it's strange. Young Master Moon never let anyone help him before. He always said other people were dirty. For him to suddenly suggest hiring help, definitely unusual. Anne adds that she's noticed something strange too. Maybe it's best to push their plan forward before things spiral out of control. Back in Moon's room, he's tearing through every box and drawer. If there's a poison strong enough to drop the third princess, it has to be a high-grade, insanely expensive hallucinogen. That's when he spots it, a black market card. No doubt about it, this must have been used to buy whatever ends up in the princess's drink. The scene cuts to the Chamber's commercial district late at night. Moon tells his companions to wait outside while he runs an errand. He slips through the crowded streets, mostly unnoticed, retracing the route from the original story. Finally, he stops at a door, sweet rats, and flashes his credential. The doorman nods and lets him in. Welcome to the Loopold Black Market. Potions, rare ingredients, magical creatures, some even artificial. And, of course, the ugly staple of any underground market, slaves. One of Moon's allies was actually bought here, but that's not his focus right now. He heads into a side room, where he's met by someone wearing a sleek cat mask. "What are you looking for?" the seller asks. "We've got every kind of potion." Moon keeps his voice calm, colorless, odorless, especially effective on mages, knocks them out cold for hours. He plans to buy it, play along with the original plot, but he has no intention of actually harming anyone. The masked seller lets out a low laugh. "Sounds like you're planning a real party. Want me to recommend a few slaves while you're at it?" Moon shakes his head and turns to leave, but the seller stops him. "What? I'll get what you need?" Moon takes a moment to size this person up. Hard to say if it's a man or a woman. The artist definitely didn't make it obvious, but judging by that flawless figure, he's betting on a woman. A stunning one, no less, running this whole operation. Before he can think further, the door creaks open again. Another figure steps inside, black tights catching Moon's sharp eye. This stranger walks straight up to the counter and asks for an extremely strong drug that targets mages, leaves no trace. The cat mask seller blinks. "This is rare stock. Why is everyone suddenly asking for the same thing?" Moon freezes, so he's not the only one playing this game. The stranger, clearly a woman by her voice, ignores him and waits. The seller finally tosses 2 vials on the table. The liquid glows faintly, but when mixed with wine, it becomes invisible. Just a few drops could put down an elephant for 3 straight hours. Moon can't believe the strength of it. "If you don't trust me," the cat mask teases, "drink it yourself, sleep on the floor for 3 hours, but you'll still pay full price." Price tag. A whopping 130,000 Amelia. Moon grimaces, but before he can say anything, the mysterious woman in tights casually says she doesn't have money, but she has another way to pay. She hands over a sealed letter. The seller scans it, eyebrows rising. "Is this real? Verify it yourself," the woman says coolly. The seller studies it for a moment, then nods. "All right. The potion is yours." The woman pockets her vial, thanks her, and heads for the door. Moon just shrugs and says, "Charge it to my card." The cat mask seller smirks and slides over an extra vial as a bonus, saying if he combines them, the effect will be even stronger. Moon thanks her, tucks the bottles safely away, and then asks about the info the other customer gave her. But the seller just shrugs. "She's an old friend. If you want that information, 900,000 Amelia." 900,000. Moon's jaw tightens. This whole night just got a lot more expensive. Moon keeps walking alongside the princess, but his ears are locked on that gossip. Some noble ladies are whispering that the illegitimate daughter beat her husband so badly he hasn't shown his face since. Another voice cuts in, laughing that it's no wonder the Campbell family is going downhill. First a disgraceful son, now this mess. Moon clenches his fist but keeps smiling, trying not to draw attention. He realizes these rumors will only make it easier for people to believe later that his father ordered him to harm the princess. The stage for his family's downfall is already being set. Meanwhile, Celia notices his fake grin and side-eyes him. "You're awfully quiet, Lord Campbell," she says, her tone cool but curious. He responds smoothly, telling her he's just admiring how dazzling she looks tonight, so dazzling it made him forget how to speak. That earns him a sharp glare. "You're different today," she says. "What are you planning?" Moon laughs it off, saying she gives him too much credit. Deep down, though, he's thinking if I mess up even once, the banquet moves into the main hall, crystal chandeliers glittering overhead. Servants carry trays of wine, red wine, the perfect cover for the drug. Moon scans every cup, every hand, wondering which one is meant for Celia. Then he spots it Anne at the far side of the room, slipping a vial into her sleeve. His heart nearly stops, so she really was part of the plan after all. But is she working for him or setting him up? A noble bumps into him, forcing a fake laugh out of Moon while he keeps his eyes locked on Celia. The princess picks up a glass from a passing tray. This is it. He excuses himself from a group of bowing sycophants and crosses the floor in 3 long strides. Just as Celia lifts the glass to her lips, Moon accidentally collides with her, sending wine splashing across her white dress. Gas echo around the room. Celia freezes, glaring ice daggers at him. The nobles start whispering. The Campbell boy drunk already. What an embarrassment. Moon bows his head, apologizing profusely, calling for a servant to bring another gown. Celia narrows her eyes, clearly suspicious, but she says nothing. Instead, she follows a maid out of the hall to change clothes. Moon exhales in relief, but only for a moment. Anne appears beside him, her voice calm and cold. "That was sloppy. Young master, you're drawing attention." He whispers back, "I just saved her life." Anne's expression doesn't change. "Or maybe you ruined everything. Do you even know who that potion was meant for?" Before Moon can respond, the mustachioed gentleman from earlier, Celia's escort, steps in. "Lord Campbell, His Highness requests your presence." The music fades as the crowd parts. Up ahead, Moon sees Celia returning in a fresh gown, standing beside a tall man in formal uniform. That's when it hits him. This isn't just a banquet, this is a stage. Someone's about to make their move, and all eyes are already on him. If you want to know what happens next, comment one simple word: Moon. If enough of you do, I will make a part 2, and trust me, it gets more goonier for you. If you have any other manhwa, manga, or anime you want recap on, let me know in the comments. Your demand will result in my supply.